mega issues are burning.
When I told you that the man is confused, the man doesn't know a direction. He failed because he was unprepared. You cannot get something from nothing. So they are just trying to find somebody to blame for the failure. So they failed and failed mostly.
The Coalition of United Political Parties, the CUPP, recently alleged that there were moves to use what they call a secret court action to stop the use of the bimodal voter accreditation system in the upcoming 2023 general election. And not just that, also to remove the national chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmood Yakubu. While addressing a war press conference in Abuja, the spokesperson of the opposition parties, Ikenga Imo Ugochinyere, said the vigilance team, following credible intelligence, discovered the suit at the Owerri Federal High Court, where it was filed since the 24th of August 2022. Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has knocked the CUPP, the Coalition of United Political Parties, over the allegations of planned suspension of the bimodal voter accreditation system for the conduct of the 2023 general elections. Well, the Commission also noted that while it encourages and respects the right of citizens to demand accountability, it was also important to exercise caution. We'll talk about this and more on Open Parliament. A beautiful Wednesday morning, the 21st day of September 2022. My name is Mr. C. Many thanks for joining us. And a regular guest every Wednesday to dissect some of the issues we have on the front burner this beautiful Wednesday morning is a recipient of Zix Award on Innovation and Creativity, a fellow of Ethical Leadership from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, a Board of Trustee member of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, APGA, former Secretary General of Argon, Interpol consultant and security expert, Sir Chikwe Udensi, who joins us virtually this morning. A very good morning to you, and so delighted to have you join us this morning on the program, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, Mr. C. Very well day today. It has been raining all week in Abuja. Oh, wow. It's quite a week in Abuja here.
Can imagine. Maybe quite the contrary in this part of the world, though.
We have rains here. It's raining cat and mouse here in Abuja.
Interesting. But I hope everywhere in terms of security is good and calm now.
Absolutely. It's quite good and calm right now.
Okay.
At least for now.
Okay. We'll be looking at security definitely during the course of this show. But you were one of the top 10 eminent Nigerians recently inducted into the first ever Integrity Hall of Fame in the country by the Nigerian Association of Christian Journalists at the 10th anniversary of the association. And this one was held in Lagos recently. Congratulations are in order.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. C. I was pleasantly surprised to be inducted as a member of the Integrity Hall of Fame. When I was told about it, I felt a little bit shy about it because I have decided not to accept awards anymore. I don't want any more awards. I don't want any more chieftaincy titles. I have enough already, except for when Interpol gave me the Best Systems Award in innovations, systems innovations. So I thought I should take that one. And also the very prestigious ZIX Award on innovation and creativity. These are the ones I've decided to take. I decided not to take anymore. When you see those who are getting awards these days, especially government officials who have done nothing, some governors who around them have not lifted finger, they are giving excellent award. When you get excellent award, it becomes very surprising. The other day we saw a minister that was given an award. Can you imagine that? It is very disturbing. So people like us are saying we have enough awards, not chief awards, especially those ones that are not really grounded. They are not properly grounded. I looked at what the Christian journalists did over 10 years. They have followed those they felt have shown some level of integrity. I was particularly touched about the civil servant, one of the personnel in the armed forces who rejected a bribe of $3 million. He is not very rich, but he rejected the bribe of $3 million US and made sure he did what is right. These are the kind of things we should look at. Not only at the national level, I have also suggested to them that at the state level we have lots of heroes who should be remembered. We have even in local governments, even in our communities, we have community heroes. We should remember them and encourage people to do what is right at any given time. I thank God for the award and I give God all the glory.
Okay, congratulations yet again. Well,
thank you.
Let's get to where is definitely your passion and where I like to call your immediate constituency, and that's the issue of security. Yeah, we'll touch down Abia State with the recent achievements by the Abia State Police Command. But let's do the Southeast and let's do Anambra State, because the governor of that state, Governor Charles Soludo, he has said, contrary to reports, that those perpetrating criminalities and attacks in his own state are 100%, he was very emphatic on that, 100% Igbos. I'm sure you saw that. There were reports before his revelation that maybe these were persons coming from other parts of the country, a point in time where some persons did accuse security agents of perpetrating such. How big a revelation is this?
Well, Mr. C, apart from listening to him when he was speaking when he was having an interactive session with some indigenes of Anambra State. I heard what he said, but I don't want to disagree with him. But I might have to hold a little bit different opinion because do not forget that I headed the security subcommittee for his transition. I was the head of the security subcommittee. So we did a proper forensic examination of the security challenges in Anambra State, and we eventually preferred solutions. From what we saw, especially the records we have from victims, families of victims, and eyewitnesses of most of the security challenges in Anambra State. It is not essentially 100% Igbo thing. A few of those activities that had to do with banditry were people who came from the forests. There were some movements of criminals, bandits, kidnappers from the forest that were not essentially Igbos. We have that record. So I do not know, he's the governor of the state. He has his facts. But to a large extent, what I, as the head of the subcommittee on security for his transition, I hold a different, little different view. I'm not saying that a chunk of it may not be Igbos, especially when it comes to the activities of the IPOB wing, the security wing, the fighting wing of IPOB. I may not say what he's saying is completely wrong, but when it comes to banditry, when it comes to kidnapping, I do not think it's essentially an Igbo thing. There's a mixed breed along the line. Mr. C, we have found out that this created an enormous problem, especially if you consider that the few people that were picked up as part of those bandits that attacked the people in the Nukofia area, some of them were policemen, ex-policemen, some of them were ex-DSS officers, and none of them were Igbos. So we have our records that it may be true that the governor is saying that a chunk of it may be Igbos, but to suggest that 100% his people, do not want to disagree with him, but I will simply hold a different opinion in that regard.
Away from that now, to Abia State, where the police command recently did arrest 10 members of a robber gang that attacked a bullion van on July 26th and carted away about 390 million naira. Well, according to the Commissioner of Police in the state, Janet Agbede, she said the suspects belong to a 14-member gang that specialized in bullion van robbery across Nigeria. Interestingly, one of such persons who was arrested is an ex-DSS officer. And maybe you'd have your comment on that as well. What do you make as a follow-up to some of the reports about men of security agencies aiding and abetting terrorists, kidnappers, and bandits in the country? You recall too that in May this year, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Leo Irabo, had condemned the increase in cases of military personnel aiding and abetting terrorists, kidnappers, and bandits in the country. Well, Irabo, in a letter sent to all commanders of various operations, which was obtained by newsmen, asked them to sensitize their officers to the implication of collaborating with what he called the enemies. What's your take on this?
Thank you very much, Mr. C. Mr. C, between 1999 and 2010, I had my most experience in the problems associated with law enforcement agents. Don't forget also that I headed the subcommittee of security for Bola Tinubu transition, and I was also a member of the transport committee. Most of the recommendations we gave Bola Tinubu in his transition, he implemented, and Lagos became what it is subsequently. There were boom in economic activities because no economic activity can effectively flourish in a very depressed security system. But let me go straight to the police and other law enforcement agencies. Mr. C, between 2000 and 2010, I served as a member of the Police Welfare Reforms Committee. 2 terms I served in police welfare reforms. Mr. C, my eyes opened. Before this time, I had all kinds of conjectures against the police. Before this time, I would always criticize the police as doing this or doing that or not doing what they ought to do. But after serving as a member of the police welfare reforms, we looked very closely into the problems associated with law enforcement officers getting involved in crime. Not just police, law enforcement officers. Mr. C, there's a unit in the Nigerian police force. It's called the X Squad. The X Squad is the unit that looks into crime and other negative activities committed by policemen. You know, when a member of the society commits a crime, the police investigates. So, but if a personnel of the Nigerian police force commits any offense, it is the X Squad that investigates that police officer. So, what we realized from the records of the X Squad is very disturbing, extremely disturbing. It is what you are mentioning about the DSS and the army committing crime. If you look into also the Nigerian Army Police Unit, you know, we have the military police. These military police are those who look into the crime of the army personnel that are serving. So if you look into those records, you will be very shocked, Mr. C. We did a complete analysis of it. Even the ones from the Navy has its unit. The Air Force has its own unit. The Civil Defense, which is a recent formation, and the DSS, they also have their own units. The police welfare reforms taught us a few things. Number one, most of the crime associated with the use of firearms by personnel of the armed forces are by NCOs. The NCOs are those that are called the non-commissioned officers. And the non-commissioned officers, you're talking about the recruits to maybe sergeant and sometimes inspector, depending on the formation. This category of people, Mr. C, have put in between 20 to 30 years. Between 20 to 30 years. You can imagine somebody who has put in this number of years in service. You can imagine what he is being paid. When we started as members of the Welfare Reforms Committee, a sergeant that has put in very close to 29, 30 years in service was earning 35,000 naira. Mr. C, right now, that same category of person is earning about 75,000 naira a month. Mr. C, somebody who has put in between 20 and 30 years in service, you know the liabilities and do all the things that comes with all its problems. You must have children. You must have aged parents if they are still alive. You have lots of family, both immediate and extended family. In-laws, cousins, nephews, nieces. You have to pay school fees. You have to pay rent. Can we genuinely believe that this volume of money can sort the problem out? Mr. C, don't just identify the problems. Also find a way of finding solutions to the problems. The problem we have in the country today is that we are not able to provide livable wage to our employees and personnel. Employees that are not able to sustain themselves cannot give you the best. Mr. C, the first law of nature is survival. The man has to survive to be able to give his best. But what we pay today as income or salaries or wages, what we pay is very substandard, Mr. C. It cannot guarantee the minimum integrity from a person. It cannot guarantee the minimum patriotism. For you to be patriotic, you have to be alive. For you to be patriotic, you have to be well. If you cannot treat yourself of common malaria, how can you be patriotic to that country for where you put in efforts and you get pittance? Mr. C, that is the major problem. And that is where we must have to look at. We cannot leave the problem and we are looking for solutions. There's a saying in my place, which is very common. A man which no, not able to read me. I don't know if you understand what that means, Mr. C.
If you could help out.
Let me help you out with that. What it means is that it is only mischievous to be asking from what angle does the bird feed from when you can see the mouth. You know, you can see the mouth of the bird. So you can identify where the bird feeds from. So the truth is that we know what the problem is in the country. And our inability to solve that problem remains a very serious issue. Today, Mr. C, the minimum wage is 18,000 per month. That's the minimum wage. We are told it has been increased to 30.
Oh,
but
yes.
only about 30 states, 13 states have increased to 30. Some states are not even paying at all. My own state, Abia, cannot even pay the 18,000, not to talk about the 30,000 minimum wage. Mr. C, you and I know that nobody can survive on that. Today, if you take the practical example, I speak to my people. Let me use my state for example. When I speak to people in my state, a commissioner in the state earns less than 200,000, and that amount includes also what he has to pay his driver, what he has to pay his domestic staff. That's what government gives him. What kind of patriotism, what kind of service should you expect from somebody in that category to render to the state? Especially now we have 34 of them, 34 commissioners, and some of them don't even have offices. Some who were able and lucky enough to get offices don't even have the offices furnished. So we must have to do the right thing if we must have to have a country of sizable operation. Look around the world. Look around the world and see what is happening. Everybody believes in ensuring that you pay a worker a salary or wage that can take him home. His take-home pay should be able to take him home. But it's different in Nigeria. Right now, a sergeant that has put in very close to 20 to 30 years is on 25,000 naira a month. He cannot even transport himself because he's going to live in a remote area or maybe one of the suburbs if he's in one of the urban areas. He cannot even transport himself with that amount of money. We cannot live in a country with this kind of plenty, and then we cannot even provide enough for the working staff. We can't even provide enough for those who have put in 35 years of their youth. This is the major problem, Mr. C. If we don't solve that problem, it's not going to work. A commissioner of police in a state today, for example, the young lady who is now in Abia State, Jane, our sister, the commissioner of police cannot pay one school child in a private school. She cannot do that with her salary. She cannot feed comfortably with her salary as a commissioner of police. So what are we talking about? Today we know that the governor of a state, if he chooses to be honest and rely on what he gets a month as salary, he cannot even pay the school fees of his children. So we must have to have a situation where we reverse the things.
Did you say governor? A state governor?
Well, a state governor, if we take away the other incidentals like security votes, it's a state governor. How much do they earn a month? Can I tell you? Do you know how much the president himself earns?
You may want to go ahead.
Well, I can give you the figures, direct figures. But what I'm saying, as a matter of fact, generally, the president himself cannot survive on his own salary. And we are lying to ourselves if we decide to accept that. So what we ought to do, as a matter of fact, is pay livable wage, not minimum wage. If we continue to pay minimum wage, our country will continue to suffer. So people are now relying on those evil ways to survive. Today, you have an armorer. What do I mean by an armorer? An armorer is one who looks after the armory. The Nigerian police force, in every formation, we have an armorer. In the divisional police office, there's an armorer. In the state command, there's an armorer. In the zonal command, there's an armorer. He's in charge of the arms and ammunition. he will be tempted. An Amora, the category of Amoras we have in the country today are sergeants and inspectors. An inspector takes a maximum of about 100,000 a month, and then you give him arms and ammunition, and he is being tempted to use this to survive. As much as I do not, by any stretch of imagination, I do not condone acts of illegality. I do not. But we should not put in place the necessary instrumentality that will make people commit crime through survival. This is what I'm saying, Mr. C. So, from what we have done in our process in looking through the welfare of the Nigerian police force, and also in my work as a member of the transition of Bola Tinubu campaign, Bola Tinubu government in 1999, we were able to see a few things that we ought to change. If we don't change this, we shall be playing around the bush by thinking that we're going to get very principled, patriotic Nigerians to do the job here in Nigeria. Okay. That is the problem we have.
All right. Well, in case you just tuned in, it's Open Parliament. Our guest is Interpol consultant and security expert, Chikwe Udensi. My name is Mr. C. We're going for a break in a bit. But just to get you prepped up, when we return from the break, there's this belief, particularly in this part of the country, that, hey, the presidency has been sort of elusive, and maybe the right time for a Southeasterner, an Igbo man, to become the president is 2023, with the buzz surrounding the candidate of the Labour Party in the person of Peter Obi. But maybe another Southerner thinks differently, and I'm talking about former governor of Abia State and the chief whip of the Senate, Ojozo Kalu, who says it will be difficult for an Igbo man to win the presidency without zoning the seat to the Southeast, and of course asking politicians from the Southeast eyeing the highest office to wait for another time. What do you make of that? And then they talk about the CUPP and raising allegations against the credibility or otherwise of the 2023 general elections. We'll come back and we'll talk about those. Stay with us.
It is being said 70% of home buyers settle for their first home when they see it. Over time, we have created a wide range of happy customers by building the homes that suit their needs. Why settle for average when you can have a luxury home inside a gated estate in Lagos? Welcome to Kenzo Luxury Homes, a development by Kenzo Group of Companies Nigeria Limited. Our featured home is a gorgeous private home of 5 bedrooms with a room BQ located at a serene and beautiful environment at Lekki Palm City Estate, Ajah, Lekki, Lagos. Finely crafted and designed specifically to give you the luxury and comfort you deserve. Why make this your next home? The features include 5 bedrooms with a room BQ, spacious living room, all-room en-suites, stunning master bedroom, modern fitted kitchen, serene neighborhood, carefully designed staircase, private swimming pool, detailed finishing, and large compound space. This home sits on 500 square meters. The title is General C of O. Price 130 million naira. For details and inspection, please call 0903 717 9034. Be a smart investor. Guarantee your family a secured future with Kenzo Luxury Homes. It is being said that 70% of home buyers settle for their first home when they see it. Over time, we have created a wide range of happy customers by building the homes that suit their needs. Why settle for average when you can have a luxury home inside?
Welcome back. It's Open Parliament live on the frequency with a guest, Interpol consultant, Chikwe Udensi, joining us virtually. Or don't forget to go on Facebook at www.facebook.com/familylove99.9 FM. We have got a post right there. You want to go drop your comments and reactions and probably questions. If you got on the flip side, would come through with those. And two, would come through. We're throwing the phone lines open for your reactions. Well, Nigerians were calling for a rejig of the electioneering process, particularly with the 2023 general elections in just a matter of months away. And yes, there was a little bit of a rejig, a big one at that, with the introduction of the bimodal voter accreditation system, the BVAS, with the belief that, hey, this would increase the credibility of future elections in the country. So much hopes risen by that particular act by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. But would the hopes of Nigerians who are yearning for a credible election be dashed? At least with the revelation coming from the Coalition of United Political Parties, the CUPP recently, which has alleged that they were moved to use a secret court action to stop the use of the BVAS machine in the upcoming 2023 general election, and also remove the national chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, and other allegations as well. Yeah, these allegations have been debunked by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. But can we throw the said allegations, sir? I'm sure you might have stumbled and probably read through this, or probably seen the video as well.
Yes, Mr. C. I listened several times to Ikenga Imo for the CUPP, the coalition of political parties. And I had two discussions with him too on some of the findings they did in Imo State. Mr. C, every year we all gather in Singapore, Interpol Systems Consultant. Every year we gather in Singapore. This time we are making it twice a year. We gather in Singapore to look at emerging crimes. Any innovation you bring out, you see those who want to criminally circumvent it. The BVAS system, the bimodal voter accreditation system, is a beautiful thing. Everybody thought this is exactly what we require to bring some level of sanity to our electoral process. But what we are seeing now is very disturbing, Mr. C. You saw what the records that were obtained from Amoma Ward in Imo State. And Amoma Ward is the ward of Governor Hope Uzodimma. The records that were obtained sends a very disturbing signal. But that signal also came as a result of the claims being made some politicians when they said that they are certainly going to win the election. Even when some people, some gladiators are saying that it is difficult for this government to win any election, but they're saying it's a done deal. In fact, Hope himself, the governor of Imo State, said in a televised press conference that the APC will win in every state of the Federation, including the FCT. So many people became apprehensive, and searchlights and telescopes and microscopes were being used to look and find out where these problems are. Where are they wanting to hinge their efforts in making sure they grab the election by hook and me? And we realized what happened in Omoma Ward. Omoma Ward is the number of registered voters before the review of voter registry is about 9,000 registered voters. Suddenly, it went from 9,000 to 48,000, Mr. C. Over 40,000 in the review of voter registration. The whole local government, we are told, has about 87,000 registered voters. Omuma ward is just one ward out of the 12 wards in that local government. So one ward had a very smart shot up from 9,000 to about 48,000. So the microscopes and telescopes were used to find out what was going on there. Mr. C, the records are so disturbing. One gentleman whose name is John Cole, that is the name of the gentleman, his date of birth is 1901, over 100 and something years. But the picture there is a young girl with looks about 20 to 30 years old girl. That was what we had there. There were other names that were not at variance, that were totally at variance with the pictures. The man's name with a woman's picture, a woman's name with a man's picture. And several things were seen. It became very clear, Mr. C, that the database of INEC has been sensibly compromised. It has been sensibly compromised, Mr. C, to the extent to which several international organizations have asked for forensic examination of the database. Let us see nationwide, because what has happened in Omuma is exactly, it might be replicating of what is happening around the world.
You know, so INEC, through a release reacting to those allegations, debunked point by point of those. Shouldn't we hold them by the substance?
I listened to both INEC and also listened to the Commissioner of Information, Ibekwe, or something Ibekwe, or that was something from Imo State. I listened to both of them. Clearly, what we are saying is that they have not effectively told us that what we have there is fraud. No. What they are saying is that it may or may not be. So what, therefore, is required is a complete forensic examination of the database. Otherwise, it would have been compromised nationwide. If what we saw in Omuma, because you see, before I'm able to give you this information, Mr. C, I must have been able to do my intellectual and systematic analysis and investigation. What we have in Omuma is disturbing. What we have in Omuma ward is very disturbing. What we want to make sure, Mr. C, is that this is not replicated. This is not what is happening around. And also, one of the areas that disturbed everybody was the case that was filed at the Federal High Court in Owerri. A young man whose name did not collaborate with the name of the lawyer filed a case wanting to stop the use of beavers for the elections in nationwide in the Federal High Court. And this case was filed but not served. They are probably waiting for the appropriate time when it becomes too late for anybody to appeal against it. And we say it's a court order, we have to obey the court order. But one of the surprising things, again, Mr. C, is that the lawyer whose stamp was seen on the processes of the court have denied knowledge of that process. You know that every lawyer, for every process you file in the court, you must have to put your stamp. The stamp of the lawyer, the young lawyer is saying that though that is his stamp, but they didn't have his authorization to put it there. So it gives us concern that is this what is going to replicate nationwide? Is this just a tip of the iceberg? Let us look nationwide. That is why we are saying allow a complete forensic examination of the database of INEC. Let us see what is in there. We're not going to allow INEC to do what they are doing right now, especially when we realize that the head of the ICT, INEC, Mr. Chidumafo, has been removed. He has been removed as head of ICT after being the head of the ICT for over 10 years. He's the one who initiated all these anti-fraudulent rigging mechanisms and systems. He's the one who initiated them in INEC. He has been removed from INEC, from the headquarters there, and he has been sent to be a admin secretary, a very junior office in one of the states. He's now an admin secretary there. It leaves one with some concern as to the intent and purpose of INEC. As much as we don't want to criticize or go to suspect anybody, what we are saying is, let it be transparent. Allow the records to be systematically checked out. Let us do a forensic examination of what you have in the system to make sure that this arrangement is not what we have nationwide. It is very disturbing, Mr. C, and that is what we have right now.
Well, www.facebook.com/familylove99.9 FM. You can go drop your comment right there. And well, we've got a comment or two right there. We'll be taking them as we come along. But let's take your calls now. 0816-1115-955 or 070-16-514-107. Again, 0816-1115-955 or 070-16-514-107. 1 minute, 30 seconds. Obrigado. Good morning to you.
Mr. Chikwe, highly blessed. This is Dr. Sigai for you, coming from Doro,
welcome.
Let me just hit some areas. As I think was trying to let us know that some of the things earning or receiving from all this government of the people, this our leaders supposed to be cut down or even at least eating it off. So what I was trying to say, some of the things that they supposed to be used to channel for a better side that will be helping the masses, making it look like a way of putting things in order, just like a minimum way where you will be saying something. Suppose that has been done before now, that the government, they will overlook that side. I'm talking about every time minimum wage, which is some states are not even paying us 18,000, which is a mention of our own state. But unfortunate. Then let me now go straight now to say, this is the opinion of the chief whip. Sometimes it surprised me that when he now come out to say something like that, you remember that Obasanjo have gone there, after Obasanjo, and again we still have Sibanjo as a vice president. He said we should wait to when. Mr. C, if you can ask him this question, when to when?
Thank you. Thank you.
People have gone.
Thank
so
you.
Now, Sibanjo is the vice president.
Thank
so
you.
He should be mindful of what he's saying to avoid people to catch up his personality.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a nice day. We have another caller. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. C.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, my name is Comrade John Mark. Good morning, sir. Chikwe.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Please, Sir Chikwe, for some time now, we're here to get updates about your controversial primary election between you.
We're in court.
Okay, you're in court, sir.
We have 4 court cases. In fact, I was in court on Monday, and we're going to be in court again on the 27th of this month, and then on the 6th of October. So we are waiting for the courts to decide what direction we are going to take.
Okay, sir. The issue of the comment created to Ojo Carlo, Mr. C, I think it's quite unfortunate that very disturbing, sir. But Sir Chikwe Udensi, with all due respect, sir, I think if I will blame, all of you will share the blame, because since the issue of Ojo Carlo is Nande Carlo is at stake now, none of you is throwing weight behind him to ensure he's being released from unjustified incarceration. Then finally, sir, with due respect, I think the information you are giving about the commissioner's pay and it's not correct, sir. With all due respect, thank you. Have a nice day.
All right, thank you. Thank you for coming through. Oh, you want to react, sir?
Yes, number one, he talked about what Audio Zakalu said. Maybe I'll have enough time to talk about it later. I called Oji himself, the former governor, a respectable friend of mine. I called him on the phone and we spoke. I said, please, some of these things are not acceptable to us. But you know, Oji has always done things his own way. When the whole Southerners are talking about not accepting Ruga, he said that he was even the one who initiated Ruga at the first instance. So Oji has always stood for himself and he has always done things himself. I don't think that it is any good for anybody to talk about our turn not being right now. It's not a matter of turn. It is a matter of having somebody who is very competent. It's a matter of having somebody who understands what the problem of Nigeria is and who is willing to make sure that the problem is sizably ameliorated. It's also somebody who have also shown that by what he did in Anambra State, by example. So he has shown that, and he's shown that he's competent. He has also shown that when he was chairman of a bank, the bank is still there. Some people go to banks, and by the time they leave there as managing directors, the bank will die. But he has shown that he can do a whole lot and sustain his credibility. That is what we're talking about.
If you will, let me bring the words of the former governor, quote unquote. He said, presidency is not a regional issue. I asked the political parties to zone the presidency to the southeast. When they didn't do that, and since presidency is not a regional issue, I had to withdraw. I have no problem with Igbo man being president, but we have to do it with other Nigerians. If we don't do it with other Nigerians, it is not going to work, no matter how popular you are. It's president of Nigeria, not president of Igbo land. I'm an Igbo man to the core. I'm also a Nigerian to the core. If anyone from the southeast would have been nominated for presidency, I would have been the one. So it's a party business. I have no grudges against anybody who is running. Makes sense, does it?
Of course, haven't you seen the popularity and acceptability of P2B nationwide? P2B is beyond what is happening right now. It's even beyond P2B himself. Yesterday, you saw the PDP stalwart on television saying that he is a PDP man and he's going to support P2B. So it is beyond P2B, it is beyond region, it is beyond individuals right now. It is for the sake of this nation. What do we do to make sure Nigeria moves forward? And God has given us an answer. And if you ask me, without any equivocation, without partisan politics, without doing what is politically right, I will say that P2B is God sent to salvage us from this abnormality we have in the country. So if he is talking about acceptability, I agree with him. You cannot do it without being acceptable nationwide. You look at what is going on. Look at the wildfire going on beyond even southeast. It has gone beyond central. It has gone to the north. You saw the movement of P2B in Katsina State itself. Have you seen the movement of P2B in Adamawa? I'm talking about the core north. Have accepted that there's a need for sizable change in the country today. So it is not just P2B or Southeasterner or Igbo man. No. It is an acceptable arrangement nationwide that we must have to change this. And the only person we are looking at right now who Providence have shined on is P2B, because it is not our own making. Whoever is going to be the governor or is going to be the president is through Providence. When P2B was coming out, he didn't even know that the country is going to go this wild for him. It is not party politics. It is not APC, it is not PDP, it is not Labour, it is not ABGA. It is need for us to change this country for the betterment of our children, not even only for ourselves.
Okay.
Because we are on our way out right now. We must have to commence the process where this country will be for the betterment of the generations to come. And if you ask me, I will say that God is about to listen to our cry, it's about to listen to our call. We must have to change and change for good. P2B is the answer. Ask me.
Well, we'll take a call or two. We'll call it a wrap on Open Parliament this morning. Let's see who we have here. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, good morning, Mr. C.
Good morning to you.
Zoka for Chile, so I'm calling from Omaha.
Welcome.
Okay, good morning, sir. Udensi.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, I just want to talk about the mandate P2B has this time to contest the president of this nation. I must confess that it is designed. And the way Ojoso is speaking, let me just confess that most of our politicians are just being selfish to the point that if it is not me, it cannot be any other person. That is how that statement sounds. But let him understand that, yes, whether the people this mandate is a national issue, it is not even regional, nor ethnic. Neither is it religious, because it is divinely mandated to salvage Nigerians and to change the narrative of this nation for good. Let us all support it. It is divine in nature. That is my take this morning.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming.
There is a comment by somebody about Nnamdi Kanu.
Oh, yes.
Nnamdi Kanu issue is an issue that is very dear to my heart. I have always said this. You remember severally, I have said it on this platform, that if the country genuinely wants us to reconcile, that reconciliation should start with the release of Nnamdi Kanu. I have always believed in that. I believe that Nnamdi Kanu should be released from the cell, the DSS cell, and then we shall commence a unification, a reconciliation, forgiveness in the country, so that the country can be a better place for everybody to live in. It is not something you can achieve by being arrogant. It is not something you can achieve by violence. It is something that ought to be achieved by coordinated discussion, a roundtable discussion. We have initiated something. I have had several meetings with Nnamdi Kanu's lawyers, Mr. Ejiofor, and also the young man from Edo State. What's his name again? The lead counsel. I've had several meetings with them. I've had to provide several solutions that can lead us out of this quagmire. Because what we have now is both legal, political, and social quagmire. Nnamdi Kanu is a problem that must be solved. And if we solve it, we shall commence a national reconciliation. There's no reconciliation in the country that will be effective if we don't go through that direction.
All right.
First of all, bring Nnamdi Kanu out of there, hand him over to the leaders of the Igbo race, and then we shall commence a process of ensuring that the country is one formidable country and one strong country. And that's what I believe in.
We'll leave it here. Sir, thank you very much for your time and coming through on the Open Parliament this morning.
Thanks for having me, Mr. C. I appreciate that greatly.
Well, next will be the news at 10. And Open Parliament returns tomorrow for the Thursday edition. My name is Mr. C. In the meantime... Fire, 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 fire.